And we are on. Fantastic. So, hello, everybody. Welcome back again. I am thrilled to be joined by Annie Humphris. She's the author behind the Maternal Mindset, which I am lucky to have right here in front of me, and also the voice behind the Instagram page, The Parental Mindset. Annie has been on a powerful journey through PCOS, Clomid treatment, fertility challenges, and ultimately motherhood. She's here to share her raw, honest insight on conception, the emotional roller coaster of fertility treatments, and how mindset can transform the way we approach parenting and self-care. Annie, I am so happy you're here. And I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. I am really, really excited. Thank you so much for your time. We were talking about it earlier that it's really actually super hard to get our diaries and be able to find the date. But we're here, and we're all here for each other. So if I was to ask you from the very, very start, can you talk us through your fertility journey and how it all began? So when did you start spotting any signs and how it all started?
So, oh gosh, blimey, it feels like such a long time ago now. I feel like I've been through so much. So after my husband and I got married, we bought a house and we did our renovation, and then we sat down and we were like, ooh, next thing. I was like, yeah, I think we definitely want to start trying. And it was just before, it was probably about, I say just before COVID blurs everything. It's about 18 months before sort of COVID really hit, if not a bit longer than that. But we came off the pill, and when you are younger and you have your sex education class, you are told if you are not on contraception, you will get pregnant immediately. And I was like, oh, great, well, we'll be pregnant next month and we'll have our baby and it'll be blissful. And then I was like, another month. And my cycles weren't regular. And I thought, well, you put it down, you're like, oh, well, maybe it's the pill, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And then as it went on, and I noticed that I just felt in my bones that something wasn't right in my body, and my acne I've never had great skin. Thank goodness for good makeup, but I've never had great skin. And I started putting on weight, and then I tried to lose weight and I couldn't lose weight, and I was doing all these different things. And it was going to be thinking, how long have we been married? Probably about 6 years ago now. I should know my marriage. It's our anniversary on Monday. But when back 6 years ago, there wasn't as much research. There's more research, there's more podcasts. There is so much more out there for women now talking about their fertility journeys, and there was nothing really back then. So I was a bit lost, and I remember standing in the gym with a friend going, there is something not right with my body. And I was like, I don't understand why I was getting a little bit of a hairy chin, and not being able to lose weight and all these other things. And my moods were up and down, and I hadn't ever felt like that. And so I went to the doctors, and I struck gold with my doctor. A big shout out to my doctor, Dr. Collier Dyson. She was exceptional, because I know a lot of people really struggle and find it very hard to not only advocate for themselves, but to be heard. And it's notorious, sadly. But I was very lucky that she listened and she put me through. And actually, we were very lucky with how it worked, with being seen quite quickly, because I know that the wait lists are really long now. But we were seen quite quickly, and my husband had to go for his tests, and he was all fine. And then all of a sudden it was, well, you've got polycystic ovaries. And that was it. I wasn't told anything else, wasn't told how to manage it, told nothing. And all of a sudden it's, well, I'm the problem. It's my fault. I'm doing this. We're the reason that I can't. And I put this weight on me that it was all my fault. And I don't have control over my body. Of course, it's not my fault that I have it. And And we just went through this journey of trying to work out what worked. And we went to see the fertility doctor. He's quite blunt, to say the very least. And they wouldn't touch me with a barge pole until my BMI had come down, which is, BMI blows my mind. It's completely ridiculous because I'm very healthy.
It's so historical to do.
It is ridiculous. And I've had all these health checks and I'm like over 50% muscle and all these things, and I'm really healthy, but my body fat is the only thing that's letting me down, and I can't lose that. It's really hard. But somehow I lost about 1.5 stone, and just before beginning of December in 2020, and I rang the fertility doctor and I was like, look, you've got to let me on it, please. So she put me on Clomid because I don't naturally ovulate. So I have insulin resistant PCOS, and I just don't naturally ovulate. It's just not, my body's not in for it. So I ovulated. I rang her thinking I was dying because it was like somebody was Chinese burning my ovaries. It was horrendous. And we found out on Christmas Eve that we were expecting twins. So that was super exciting. And then we went into the next lockdown on New Year's Eve. So pregnancy and lockdown was heaven because you could just lie there and sleep. So we definitely relive that.
I've heard from few people actually said, oh, I missed that. I missed, and during the first lockdown, we had a really good weather as well. So everybody was in the garden. But so I did my semester assessment on PCOS last year. And I went through a huge amount of papers and research. And a lot of people don't realize that something as simple as losing weight, when you have PCOS diagnosis, which is the polycystic ovary syndrome, the whole long name, it's not as easy as just go on a diet, do exercise. It's really not. Your body is saying, hell no, I'm staying, I'm comfy, and a lot of people now just learning what PCOS is, because 5 years ago, it was not even misdiagnosed. They didn't even diagnose it. They didn't recognize it.
But so even now, their treatment is to go on the pill, and that's not a treatment. Yeah. And there is no treatment. So blows my mind.
I get almost upset when people would just say, "Oh, you just need to lose weight." It's not like that. It's not just as simple, because your hormones regulate everything, and if your hormones are not happy, you're not going to be able to gain weight, do this, do that. It's easily said or written on a paper. In practice is completely different.
There's not a lot of help. I've been through this literally this year, so there's not a lot of help with the NHS with helping you understand your hormones and your levels and getting tested and everything else. So I had a blood test yesterday too. So I've come off the pill, not because we're having another baby, but because I want to regulate my hormones, because my moods were everywhere. And I have been trying for 2 years to lose weight, and I can eat anything I want and I'm still the same weight. That makes no sense. Yeah. I can be in a calorie deficit. So my average calorie burn is like 2,800 to 3,000 calories a day. I weight train. I'm so in tune with my body, but she doesn't want to lose weight. And there's an accepting the skin you're in element that I've got to work on. But I think with PCOS, the hardest thing to understand is you can be doing everything and it's still not work. There is such a sweet spot. I drink all the water, I drink all the Ds, I have all the supplements, I do everything. And it's really hard not to be filled with self-hatred to your body, because you're like, what? Why aren't you working like other people? But there is a balance, and you will find it. And the thing that I've noticed is coming off the I've been on the Levest pill, coming off that, oh my goodness, I'm a pleasant human being again, and I am my skin is better and all these things. And sometimes going on hormonal treatment and the pill, it doesn't always work.
So you have spoken quite openly about using Clomid.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience like? The physical and mental impact on that?
I've got a picture of me holding a bottle of champagne and my packet of Clomid. I was elated because I didn't think that I'd get to that point of being able to take these tablets. And I was so naive about it all. And I took it and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I think in my head, I was like, oh, it's just like a paracetamol, just have it and magically we'll be pregnant. But it's not always like that. And I was very fortunate in the fact that we got pregnant in our first round of Clomid, and most women don't get that. I've got a friend who has done multiple rounds, and sadly, with her first pregnancy, she had baby, but this time around, she's really struggled with Clomid. But for me, my symptoms were particularly really, really bad tummy ache. I could almost feel ovulation, like it was. Everything was clicking into gear, and because I've got a lot of cysts on my ovaries, they were not happy bringing down that egg. But
So to dumb it down, what was the purpose of Clomid?
So Clomid basically makes you ovulate. It kicks your body into gear and it helps you release the egg, and so that when everything goes up on there, then hopefully the egg gets fertilized effectively. But it's just my body doesn't release them when I would have my period. As far as I'm aware, the eggs just sort of stay there and they collect and grow together. But that can be.
So during that period, being on Clomid, what was the support of your GP? Did you feel like there was support?
Oh, I never spoke to my GP again. No, so the fertility. So the GP handed me over to the fertility doctor, and the fertility doctor gave me Clomid, and I had no follow-up call. I had nothing. So I had to argue my case to get it because my BMI wasn't quite low enough, but I'd worked really hard to get it down. So I think your BMI had to be. It was like below 30 and I'd just got to like 30.2 or something. And I argued my case and I had it. But I literally then said I'm pregnant and they washed their hands of me. And it's a big, we don't know if we want another child. And I think a part of the reason why we don't know is I am nervous to go back down that route, because if we have to go through the fertility treatment again, it is a big thing because it's happening to your body. And it's not your fault if it doesn't work, but you still have it on you. And so there was no support. There's no mental health support. There's nothing. And I do think that if I'd had more support and understanding around it as sort of this naive 28-year-old, I was so frightened by it all. And I think I would have struggled less postpartum.
So on the back of that, being young and naive, because you did have the experience, and so many women, so many women with PCOS are being prescribed Clomid. That's like the number one help for fertility. What would be the first bit of advice you give somebody that is young and naive and doesn't know what to expect?
I think for me, my PCOS journey and knowledge, all of that really started after pregnancy, purely because it was understanding my body and what goes into it. So I think when you are starting your fertility journey, it's really important to remember that Clomid will help and it hopefully will get you pregnant, and modern medicine and science and all of those fertility treatments are really important, but it's also a recipe. So for everything else to really take effect and for the Clomid to really stand its best chance, you need to be focusing on your diet, focusing on your hydration and on your mental health, making sure that you're journaling, going out and having your green therapy, getting out there and doing all these wonderful things for you, because we are almost in an epidemic of stress in the UK. And I think that a lot of fertility problems, and particularly when you have PCOS, you're more susceptible to stress and depression. Excuse me. So I think for young, naive, whatever, all of these people who are just entering their fertility journey, is Clomid is part of the recipe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's so important, that it's not just a golden pill that will make everything happen. So you mentioned that healthy diet, hydration. Are those the paths that you have taken alongside Clomid? Or is there anything
Yes.
else that you did, maybe mindful breathing, or what was your route
Oh, I
to?
do a bit of everything. I certainly am greedy. Do a bit of everything. So I weight train. Every single morning, I'm out at the crack of dawn. As soon as I wake up, like this morning, I was out at 5 o'clock and I went to the gym. And for me, I have to
5 a.m. club.
I have to set myself up now. I know a lot of women, especially, I'm very lucky that my husband works from home, so it's a lot easier for me to have that ability to go out and do things. And a lot of women don't have that support network, or husbands might work away, etc. But wherever it is, or whatever you have, it's really important for me. I get out and I go for a walk for an hour, or I'll go to the gym, and then after work I will do the same, because I have to regulate myself. And for me, it's really understanding why I feel as I do, and checking in with myself is so important. I drink a lot of water. I try to drink about 3 liters a day if I can, when it's hot. I start my day with mint tea. I would never drink coffee first thing on an empty tummy, ever. That's like never, ever going to happen. I watch my protein, so making sure I'm eating the right protein. Limiting processed foods is really important. So, I think when I first got diagnosed with PCOS, I didn't really understand my diet as I do now. And I think, oh my God, why were you eating that? Why were you drinking so much fruit juice and things like that? I can't believe I ever did that to my body. And that's not to say I don't have treats. I absolutely do. I still drink. I was happily munching on nibbles and drinking Prosecco in a friend's garden on Wednesday. So that's all about balance.
Yeah.
And when my PCOS, 100%, and especially with PCOS, you get such bad cravings. And the cravings are like when you're pregnant and you think, oh my God, all I can think about is this. That's with PCOS. And I find that if I eat that chocolate, or if I eat that donut, or whatever it is you're fancying, that craving goes and I'm okay. But it's when I stop myself, and because it becomes obsessive, and you've got to find the balance.
It's in my college, one of the big topics is the mindless eating. You just, you're going to be on a phone and you just pick, or you're watching. Like, I always find myself needing something when I watch. I need to
Yes, we're exactly the same. I just love being on the sofa and having some nibbles, and we balance out. So if I know I'm going to be having some chocolate, or if I know that I'm going to be having something really naughty, I'll balance it out, because it's just for my blood sugars. So I'll balance it out with some nuts, and just to make sure that I'm being a little bit sensible. And I'll have things that just sort of counterbalance things, I suppose, making sure that I'm having my healthy fats with lots of avocados, and like I said, nuts. Chia seeds are amazing, so I'll quite often have sort of like natural yogurt with chia seeds in, and fruit. And then, just anything that can help balance your blood sugars with PCOS is really, really beneficial.
Amazing.
But having the higher protein will stop you feeling all munchy.
But you were quite lucky to succeed at your first go with Clomid. But during that journey, was there any point that you were thinking, I can't do this, I'm giving up, I don't want to, it's too much pressure on my body or my mind?
I think there's always that, I don't know if I can, but I think when you want a child, and I wanted Quinn so much. I just wanted to bring life into this world. But my husband and I did have a really open conversation, and we've even had it this year, where if we can't have another, And if we couldn't have had Quinn, then we were really happy as us, but also we wanted to give love to any child. So if it was adoption, if it was surrogacy, whatever it was, whatever options there are out there, we were open to it. Every person is different, but we just felt that we just had love to give. But for me, a bit like with my weight loss and trying to be as healthy as I can at the moment, as long as I've tried everything, then I'm not a failure. As long as I've tried everything and I've done everything in my power, then I can go to bed with peace. But we got pregnant almost quite early in our fertility journey in comparison to a lot of friends. And I think you become obsessive over it, and it's hard not to. And, you just have to do what you can, but find peace with when enough is enough, and only you know that.
Let's talk about this beauty. How proud are you?
It feels really nuts, and I get messages on Instagram and I'm like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe it's happened.
It's beautiful, and it's so friendly, and I love what you wrote on the front page. The journal for all mums going through the postnatal journey. And it's beautiful because it's such a broad spectrum, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this now, being a mum, and what was the main force of creating your beautiful maternal mindset?
So for me, the driving force was there is nothing really like it out there. I found a couple of similar books, but they were quite brightly coloured. And when I was in the depths of postpartum, I just was foggy, and I couldn't see past anything, and I really needed something simple. So for me, it was make it as simple as we can, not too many words, very black and white, easy to use.
Beautiful quotes as well. Really beautiful quotes in here.
Thank you. I think it's really important just to sometimes just opening it and having a look, and you can feel inspired. But after Quinn and I struggled so much with him. Not with him, he was an angel baby. I loved him. He was a great baby. But I just struggled so much myself, because nobody tells you that when you have polycystic ovaries, not even just when you have polycystic ovaries, but after you give birth, your hormones take the biggest drop, even a bigger drop than when you go into the menopause. So it's a massive drop, but particularly with PCOS, it is a monstrous, and your hormones are doing this. And I wasn't told. There was absolutely no postpartum mental health support from anything, not in my antenatal, not in my from midwives, not from anything. And because we were coming out of COVID, midwives and the health visitors were stretched to their limits, and they didn't have the time. And I felt like they just wanted to wash hands of me, because I wasn't a necessarily complex case, but I took a nosedive. And how my husband kept put with me and helped me is, I will always be thankful to him, because he was exceptional, and he still is, because I've not been easy with my mood swings and all these complex feelings that I get, but I'm getting better with understanding my body. But for me, it was writing that book was therapy for me, but also making sure that there are other women who have been in my shoes, have the support that I didn't get.
So that was my next question. Was that therapeutical? Was that a healing journey for you?
Really healing, understanding why I felt like it. And there are some amazing anecdotes in there from real life mums. And all these mums.
Yes, I did them.
And I know all of these mums. And some of these mums are my closest friends. And when they sent me their quotes, it broke my heart, because we were 2 years into our motherhood journey together, and I didn't know that they had struggled as much as they did. And I couldn't believe it, because nobody shares it. Nobody talks about it. And I just wish, this is why I want to be such an open book, people talked about it, because I think the more we talk about it, the more prepared we be.
Mm. It's something so simple about writing a journal and then going back to it, because very often we forget that where we are now, and I posted about that, where we are now, it might feel normal, or it might feel like we haven't achieved a lot. However, to where we were 3 years ago, even for 6 months ago, it's incredible. I think a lot, if not all mums that are pregnant or going for fertility treatment or becoming new mums should definitely armor themselves with maternal mindset. I think it's just something so simple but so beautiful, and it's almost like comforting. I've got this to put it out there, and
having things in your arsenal. And I think that what I really want to stress to any mum out there, whether it's your first or your 21st child, being prepared for your postpartum is just as important, if not more important, than preparing for the birth. Because with your birth, you'll have health professionals around you 9 times out of 10, and you will be supported, and you'll have lots of knowledge on it, and there will be so many people helping you and teaching you. But with postpartum, people forget to check in on the mums, and they don't, and you're sat there with a newborn baby crying, you don't know what to do. And if you can have this book or even anything, journaling is literally scientifically proven to enhance and improve, and you'd like help your mental health. And I just wish more people would use it.
Absolutely. I think it's a little bit forgotten with all the high techs that we have. That's something as simple as putting your words down on a paper. Pen and paper, that's all you need. It's very, very
tangible. I really like that, and to have that ability just to write. And when, even if it's, you can start with even just an observation or a feeling, it just gets it out. And for me, I would chew on these thoughts, and I would they would be going round in my mind. But the moment I started word vomiting them out, and the first 6 months of my journal, I think it's like the Mean Girls. It's like what a savage book that is. But I look back and I think, gosh, you were in a dark place, but where you are now and who you are as a person and a mother, I'm so proud of where I've gone on that journey.
Well, that's my other question. Do you think that women that do go through the fertility treatment, women that might not get pregnant as easier as anybody else, do you think there is extra pressure put on them to be grateful or to be good moms, or because you wanted it so badly and you went through all the extensive treatment to become a mom? Do you think there might be a bit more pressure on mums?
I do. And I remember saying, when I told my boss I was pregnant, I was like, I just didn't expect it. It's a complete surprise. We weren't expecting it, because I wasn't expecting. I know we were going through the fertility journey, but I wasn't expecting to get pregnant, if that makes any sense. It was such a surprise. It was obviously planned, but not planned, because you just expect it to take years and years and years and years. But when I had Quinn, and you have these first couple of weeks and you think, oh, it's lovely, and he slept and he was really good, and then he woke up and he wasn't so good. But I just felt, I know now that I have an element of perfectionism and the good girl complex. I definitely know that. But I felt like I couldn't tell my mum or my friends or my sister or anybody that actually I don't feel so hot, because we were trying to get pregnant and I'm struggling. And it had to be, I remember being out the house within 36 hours, or remember going to a funeral after 2 weeks and people going, wow, we didn't expect to see you here. And I look back and I think, why did I force myself out? And I felt like I had to put on this show of everything, rather than saying, actually, no, I want to sit here. I want to feel my feelings. And if we felt everything that we feel and understood it, that's where I think we would start to heal quicker.
Do you think there is a level of not complaining, just in case you might feel like somebody's judging you, saying, well, you wanted it, right?
Mum judgment is savage. There is so much mum judgment around.
Moms are,
They're mean.
they know how to kind of put that pin right where it hurts.
They do. And my sister was judged recently, and I've been meaning to share this on social media because it'll make a great post at some point. But about she was in Tesco's, and my sister is the most incredible mother. She's mum to 3, and she's just had her 3rd Blossom, and Blossie is the sweetest little thing, and she's gorgeous. My sister chooses great names. So Blossie was in her carrier, and this mum came up to my sister in Tesco's and was like, "You're using that wrong." And my sister was really taken back that this nosy first-time mum came over and sort of almost judged her. And it was like that. It takes quite a lot of confidence, I think, to come up to a mum and tell them that they're doing it wrong. And my sister was like, "Hang on a minute. Well, I can't help it if she wants to beat us up and cutch up into here." And she is a 3rd-time mum. And my sister is, she's packed across the world with her children. She's a director of a business. She's incredible. And yet this mum thought that instead of saying to my sister, "You're doing a really great job," she opted to shame her. And I've had it where people have shamed me if I feed Quinn some pre-bought snacks, or sometimes I don't have time to chop the melon. There is just too much.
So much, right? And it's
so much.
It's so easy for people to point out mistakes, and something that I try to embed in my 3 girls, I'm a mom of 3 as well, is 1, if you haven't got anything positive to say, don't say it. 100%. If people can't change what it is within 2 minutes, it's probably not worth saying it. If it's a comment like, "Do your shoelaces," they can do that. They can impact that. But you don't say anything negative, that, especially when they can't fix it, because it's only, damaging for them. And also, I think I did a pretty good job with teaching my children how to say compliments, because my youngest one, she's 8, and she'll be walking down the street with me, and she will say to a random lady, stop her and say, "I really like your dress." And
I love that. It's so important to instill in our children.
Smile, but it might be a lady who's completely in her little zone, not smiling, just going, a woman on a mission. And I think because she's little and she's approaching her, the woman's face completely changes. And I know that if it was me on the receiving end, it will make my day.
It's 100%. I walked up the road recently and I was wearing a checker dress, and this woman stopped me and she went, "I love your outfit." And I just thought, oh, thanks. It's amazing. But
we have to tell each other the nice things, the good things, the happy things. It's such a simple solution to a lot of anger around us, a lot of judgment. Right?
There is so much judgment and so much anger in the world. There is always something awful going on, but we don't stop and take a moment. And there's this wonderful theory called the let them theory. And so, you just got to let them. It applies to so many different things, but you've got to let people just do what they want to do. And if they're going to be mean, then that's on them. They're fine. Let them do that, and don't let it affect your soul, your being, because we don't know what that person is going through.
Right? I always say, protect your energy. Don't let anybody.
Absolutely, it's so important. And one of my friends always says that comparison is the thief of all joy, and she is so right. And it's something that I live by, because it's really hard, particularly with social media these days, not to compare yourself and think, "I want a bigger house, I want a better car, I want this, I want more why don't I shopping more?" And exactly. And actually, let them do what they need to do. You're in your road, and we're all living different lives. And as long as you're happy and your child is happy.
And to touch on social media, what was the inspiration behind creating the parental mindset Instagram platform?
So I created the parental mindset mainly because I do hope to create more books in the future. I'm halfway through writing another book for school-age mums who for mums who've got children in school, but time hasn't been kind to me, and so I need to do some more writing, but I just haven't had that ability yet with promoting this book. I also host a series of women's events called Glow and Glimmer, so we've got lots of different things.
We love Glow and Glimmer.
So we're busy girls, but or I'm a busy girl, but I think it's for me, creating the parental mindset, I wanted to kind of have a brolly where I could fit lots of books under it, which is the long-term plan. I kind of begrudgingly started social media because I'm not great. I'm not very good at it. I don't particularly love sharing my life. It's very hard to. I sometimes don't feel like I get a lot back from it, but I wanted to create a safe space to share advice and thoughts and support, promote the book. And then it just started to sort of tumble, and all of a sudden
we've got a very healthy following.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, wasn't expecting people to follow me. So clearly I'm doing something, but it's very honest, very transparent, and I've just had to dial it back slightly recently. Rather than this year, I felt like I was having to post every day and having to do this and putting all my pressure on me. And I thought, all this pressure, and I just thought, why am I doing this? It doesn't make me happy. So I just post when I can, and if I get a chance to schedule a load, I will. If not, then fine. But it's very much doing it to support me and other people, and
it's
finding
really
harmony.
It's really hard to put your message out there, to help people, to advise people, because you're also exposing yourself to be very vulnerable. Right? Social media is so vulnerable. And I remember posting my first post, and I was just like, there was that cringe feeling. But you really want to do that. And at the same time, and I said that to Nicole when I had a podcast with her, I think to myself now is that not everybody needs to like me.
No.
Not everybody needs to like what I do, because I don't like everybody, right? So
not everybody will like you. It just is what it is.
But it's very vulnerable. It's a vulnerable place. But I think the force behind the people that support you outweighs, any sort of.
Absolutely, the positivity I've had, and it's really funny because I met Lottie, who I do Glow and Glimmer, these sort of women's events with, and she's like, "We need more of you out there." Thank you. And she was like, "We need more of you out there." And I'm like, oh. She was like, "You need to take more selfies." I was like, "Oh, I don't take that. I'm not that I just don't. I've never done it." And so she's like, "You need to do it." So I'm walking through the park at like 6 a.m. yesterday, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do it." It's just, it's hard to put. It's finding the balance of putting yourself out there, but having the confidence to do so, because it doesn't always necessarily come naturally to everybody. But when you hear the help that you're giving people, and the words of encouragement and the thanks from people, the messages I have had from mums is just amazing. That my book has supported people in their darkest times, but also my book holds treasured memories for mums as well. You don't have to journal because you're in a dark space. You could buy the journal and journal because you want to treasure happy things and you're in a great space.
That loving feeling, absolutely. And to touch on the events and Lottie and helping other women, I was lucky enough to be a part of Glow and Glimmer and experience you girls in full swing. There was so much energy in the room and positive energy. And one of the most memorable moments for me was when there was a lady who got really emotional because she was just about to start her fertility journey. And we all started sobbing, and there was you guys going and giving her the biggest cuddles. And for me, that moment was priceless. And I remember
her shivers.
Yes, exactly. And I just felt like, oh my God, it was such a moment, and there is so much support, and it was incredible because the energy in the room was like, it shifted. We were all cuddling her, even though it was just few of you physically.
We were. There is, when you're trying for a child, it can feel like the most lonely place in the world. And whether this is whether you might have second time infertility and be going through fertility treatment, and you might have a child, but when you're going through this fertility journey, it's so isolating, and you think that you are the only person in the world, and because it's your body, you always feel a bit like embarrassed, because you're like, well, it's me and it's my problems. And
Broken.
I mean, exactly, you do feel broken, and nobody talks about it, and it's really frightening. But when you open up, so I've got sort of two main pods of friends, and one is my baby journey friends, and I've got three of us, well, there's four of us all together, and 50% of us have had fertility problems. One had IVF, and I had Clomid. And then my other side of friends, we all met through Peanut, and 50% of us had fertility problems. My friend Sarah, she went through a harrowing fertility journey, and then I had my own struggles. And there are so many people out there, but when you talk about it, there is a community, and there is so much love and support out there for every woman going through it.
Did you have a mantra, or did you manifest it, or did you do anything kind of, a quote that was keeping you going and motivated you?
I not at the time. I don't think I don't really remember. I just remember just to stay strong and to have faith and to accept. I just had to remind myself to accept the position I was in, and to accept the love that I was given and the support. And my mum and sister would turn up, and my mum would drop me little presents on the doorstep, and my mum and sister would turn up, and they'd come down, we'd have a takeaway, and we'd sit down, and they were so supportive, particularly my sister, in the fact that she was pregnant, and she'd had her son, and when my struggles were really quite heightened, and she was so selfless in understanding, even though she was going through her awful troubles herself postpartum, she was really patient and understanding with how I was feeling. I mean, obviously, Cicely, I did say, if I can't have one before you have two, I might scream, because that's sisterly love. But thankfully, there are now 6 months between her middle and my twin. So,
what would be your wish for people to know about women struggling with fertility? Do you think we all should be a bit more aware and sensitive to this subject?
I do. I think, even though we're not trying for a baby, and we may not, I don't know yet, but I'm still very triggered by women who get pregnant really quickly. And that's not me being angry and grumpy to them. That's just past trauma and
Feels
almost jealousy. Yeah, it's really hard. And then there are women who maybe do throwaway comments to, to people who have suffered infertility. And I just wish there was more understanding, more patience, and more kindness, because unless you have been through infertility or struggles or whatever it is your path has been, it's not necessarily infertility. What if you've been through a lot of baby loss? There are all these things that you could have been through. And I think with pregnancy, with everything else, I just wish people were a bit more sensitive. So, and that goes for every generation. I think that's really important, because sadly there are older generations who, Quinn was like 3 weeks old, and it'd be like, when are you having another? And people's obsession with asking me, oh my God, why do you want to know if I'm having sex and trying for a baby? It's not, necessarily, it's weird. And I just wish there was just so much more sensitivity around it. And
you don't know how hard it was to make this one.
Exactly. Give me a break. Yeah, just more openness and more sensitivity would be my kind of wish.
Thank you. Let's do for my two favorite, actually, quick fire questions. If you could go back and relive one moment from your life, what would it be and why?
I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking, I loved obviously finding out I was pregnant that's got to be up there. I couldn't quite believe it. And telling my loved ones, because just before lockdown, we were like 3 weeks pregnant, but we were decided it was happy news no matter what happened. So telling my loved ones after the journey we'd been on was just all really special moments. And obviously the birth of Quinn was really lovely, because it was he came early, and it was I didn't even have my hospital bag with me, so I was not prepared. So that was really lovely, because it was like hello, you're here kind of moment. So that was really nice. So
I realized how long I've been waiting for you.
I think he was just excited to arrive. He knew I've been waiting for so long.
That is beautiful. What about your happy place? Where is your happy place?
I feel like I should say something really grown up, like being outside. But no, I'm a child, and my happiest place is sitting in bed, eating snacks, binge watching something great with my husband, because it's just where I'm happiest. And we're notorious for taking days off from work, and we'll go and get great snacks, and we'll sit in bed, and it is just where I'm at peace, in this kind of like sanctuary of like it's just us, and I just adore that.
Reset. That's the great reset.
It really is. We do it with Quinn now. He gets so excited. On Sunday, we were like, we can have lunch in bed and we will watch Peter Pan, and he's like, yes. So yeah, that's our happy place.
I love watching. We do have in my house, we've got Friday movie nights. So we're all going to pick a movie. We have popcorn to share, and we can get snacks. Yeah. Make a little bowls. We've got the coconut bowls, quite chunky. Popcorn movie. We love it. Friday night. And I think a lot of my friends know that Friday night, it's like off, like she's not coming.
I love that though. I've got a friend, and she does she has similar, and they do Friday pizza night, and they have pizza in a box, and it's just really sweet. I cannot wait for Quinn to be that little bit older, and we can have those really special treasured memories. It's just lots of phases to look forward to, I think.
Annie, where women that need this beautiful journal, where can they get it?
So you can buy it on Amazon, W.H. Smith's, Waterstones, Brian's books. All the links are in my bio on my Instagram at The Parental Mindset.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank
you for having me.
Been a lot of fun, and we can talk for hours and hours and hours.
I think we could.
Exchange snack ideas probably as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And obviously, I would highly recommend not just women that struggle with fertility issues, but anyone that would like to pop into your beautiful Instagram page called The Parental Mindset. Highly recommend it. And on your website as well, because there's a lot of info when it comes to your beautiful journal as well. And we can't wait for the new one. You got me. I didn't know anything about it. So
yeah, it's halfway done. I need some more anecdotes from real life mums. That's what I need. And it's just tracking them down. So I need to do a little bit more of that. And yeah, we're getting there. I just need more time to write. That's what I need.
Thank you ever so much for your time. You've been wonderful. And I can't wait to talk to you again. And just to give a little shout out to Glim and Glamour, there is another event.
Yes, there is. So we've got our next Glow and Glimmer event, which is on June the 1st at Elkstone Studios in the Cotswolds, and it'll be from 2 till 5, I think, or 2:30 till 5. Can't remember which. But it'll be amazing. And we've got some incredible nutritionists, and we've got poke bowls, and I'm making lemon muffins, and we've got some amazing practitioners, and a big shout out to my incredible lymphatic drainage lady, because lymphatic drainage, I swear by, for regulating hormones and helping with your well-being, is exceptional. And so she'll be there doing some body brushing. So that's sculpted by Irina.
Very exciting. Thank you ever so much again for your time. And until the next time.
Speak to you soon. Take care.
Bye.